listening to the podcast Discarded, a true crime show that covers unsolved cases and works with real families to search for real answers. With your host, Lynn Marie.
Please note that some names and resources may be omitted from the following publication to protect the identity of some participants. Welcome back for Episode 8, Part 2 of the Jack Jimenez Story. Previously, on our last episode, we were given a peek into the window of Jack's life, and we got a sense of the person that Jack really was, but we didn't really touch on what happened to Jack and the events that led up to his disappearance. I had mentioned rumors that I had heard, including that Jack may have fled to other states or countries, he was possibly in some sort of witness protection program, and lastly that he was possibly murdered. Also mentioned, other than the information that was on the missing persons flyer, there was very little information relevant to the surrounding circumstances released to the public. The missing persons flyer indicated that Jack was last seen getting into a vehicle on Neighborhood Road by D&K Deli. Outside of that, we're starting from scratch here. I've been talking to several people regarding this case, and it feels like everybody knows bits and pieces of the story, but nobody has the full picture in terms of the timeline of events leading up to the last time that Jack was seen on May 21st, 1998 at approximately 10:30 p.m. We heard a few pieces of information from John's sisters, including that Jack's mother went to their house to tell John and John's mother that Jack never came home. They also indicated that after Jack went missing, they were informed that a piece of clothing was found that could have very well been Jack's. And they also mentioned a rumor about a guy named Rob that was thought to somehow be involved. We also heard about a letter that Jack sent to his cousin Dolly. I haven't seen this letter, but it supposedly hints to Dolly that Jack was in some sort of trouble and that he may be going away. The information that was not mentioned in the last episode that I do know is that Jack was not living home with his parents or living with John Suska at the time. He was renting a room in a house on Mill Drive. Now, just this information alone does not give us a clear indication of any of the events leading up to Jack's disappearance, or any clear indication if Jack's disappearance was, one, voluntary, did he leave on his own will? Whether it was running from something, whether he was given an opportunity to safely hide for whatever reason, or worst case scenario, was the letter he sent to Dolly indicative of self-harm? 2, accidental. Did something happen to Jack accidentally that where maybe he was hurt or something worse in the process of going about his normal routine? Or 3, foul play. Planned or unplanned, was he intentionally harmed by someone or others? Like I said, we don't have nearly enough information to speculate as to the what, where, how, and why. So we're going to talk to people that were closest to Jack at that time and put together the timeline of events piece by piece to see if we can begin to make sense of any of this. John's sisters had made mention of a blonde girl that Jack was dating around that time. Her name is Tammy, and we're actually going to talk to her in the next episode, which will be part 3 of the series. But first, I wanted us to get a chance to talk with one of Jack's best friends. You all got to hear about the tight group of friends that Jack had, and I was lucky enough to sit down and talk with one of them, Javen. And this is what Javen had to say.
My name is Javen Baccarizo, and I'm a good friend, brother of Jack Jimenez. We met in junior high school. It was, I want to say, in Paca. It had to be like 7th grade. Around there we met. And I think that was when he first came back from Colombia around that time. Him and Jason.
And how'd you meet him?
Well, in school, you know, just in the hallways. I think the first time I met him was just around the way. Once, you know, he just approached me one day and we just started talking. And then I would say maybe a couple of months later, I ended up moving to West End Avenue by Suska, and they lived right around the corner. They lived 2 houses away from John Suska. So. And
how would you describe your relationship with Jack?
With Jack, it was good. It was like we were brothers. You know, pretty much anywhere that he went, you know, I went. We were always together. You know, as far as it was a real tight, like family type relationship. You know what I mean? He was. Anything he needed, I was there, vice versa. And that went for all of us, me, Jay, Jack, John, you know, we were always there for each other. Yeah, I was like 15, turning 16, something like that. And yeah, we were just, oh man. I remember sometimes, like, we'd have friends come over, and there'd be like 20 of us, and we would just all, I'd be like, yo, let's go to my mom's basement, because it was cold outside, so it'd be like freezing, snowing, people like, they had nowhere to stay. I'd be like, yo, let's go in the basement. Boom, we'd all go down in the basement, and it'd be like, yo, keep quiet. Everybody have their 40s and stuff in the snow, and this, that, and the third. Next thing you know, my mom comes downstairs, like, what the hell are you all doing down here? It's like 20 people down in the basement, sleeping on the floor and shit. Oh, excuse my language. But, yeah, we would just have fun. And, she'd kick us out or whatever, so we'd be on to the next mission. Thank God for my mother. She was nice. She never, and he was always respectful to my mom and stuff, too, So she loved Jack and Jay, John, same thing, They were like her other sons. But, yeah, she'd be like, if it was just you guys, fine, but not everybody. Boom, so we'd leave. Sometimes I'd pack my backpack, and we would just be out. We would just be gone for days. But she'd know we were right, Yeah, we always looked out for each other as long as we were together. She was straight, But yeah, we would just go do whatever, We could be in Mastic one night and then wake up in upstate New York or something. You know what I mean? We just never knew what we were gonna do from one day to the next, And yeah, we just always had fun. Yeah, there was a lot of things we did. A lot of trouble we got in, a lot of, things that stupid teenagers do, But, Jack was a good guy, though. Like, he was never a bad kid, you know what I mean? We did, kid shit, but as far as being like a bad person, he was always a good person, and that's why we always stuck together. Yeah. He was a big dude, but he was a teddy bear, man. Anybody who met him, he was just a good guy. And for his age, too, he was real mature for his age, at that time. A lot of stuff that we did was, we were young. We were pretty much kids. We still got into trouble here and there, He was a good kid. He was a good kid. I love Jack. That was my boy,
So what was your relationship like closer to the time of his disappearance?
I was like 20, turned 21, I think. But, yeah, it was the same. It was the same thing, We always checked in. We always, of course, he started moving out, making new friends, things like that. But for the most part, at the end of the day, we all knew where we were, you know what I mean? Yeah, so he was doing his thing, I was doing the family thing and stuff. I remember just John called me up one morning. He's like, yo, I saw Jack yesterday or whatever, and he didn't come back to the house that night, and both next day passed, and he was just worried, So then we waited like another day and nothing, and then that's when John started asking around. Asking around. John went to where he was renting a room, and same thing. We all went. Nobody heard from Jack, and then after that, we just started going crazy, just looking for him. We called the cops and filed a missing report. His mom did. I think it was his mom that called the cops, filed the missing person report. He just never gave up looking for him, you know what I mean? It was crazy at that time because, I felt like I couldn't really trust anybody, I felt like it could be the person standing right next to me. But I do remember, of course there was rumors, like, oh, he went to Florida, or, he went back to Colombia or something like that, or this, that, and the third. But it wasn't that. I know it wasn't. Because when me and John and Jay, we went over to where he was staying, he still had his personal belongings there, like, his beeper, things like that you just, wallet, stuff you don't leave behind, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we tried to get in touch with people that seen him last. And I remember we went to this one girl's house, apparently, like, supposedly, he went there. And then she confirmed it when we went there. She was like, yeah, he was here. And this was right off Neighborhood Road, like right by, honestly, I don't know if Handy Patch is even still there.
So was this a girl he was dating or just a friend?
I think it was just a friend.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if he was talking to her like that. That I don't know. But you know, he knew plenty of people. He knew a lot of people. We grew up in that town, so everybody pretty much knew everybody,
right.
You know. But yeah, he was friends with him, and I do remember it was off Neighborhood Road, and I remember I could see Neighborhood Road from her house. We stood in front of her house. She came outside, you know, whoever she was with or whatever, and you know, we were looking up the road. And she was like, yeah, she was like, you know, he came here, you know, da-da-da-da-da, we hung out, and then he left, and he walked home. You know, I don't remember exactly where he was staying. I could visualize the interior, but I can't remember what block it was on or whatever. But it had to be pretty close if he was walking home, you know what I mean? Yeah, but I remember we stood in front of her house, and, you know, she's pointing down the street, like, yeah, you know, he was walking home, and then when he got to Neighborhood Road, she said she saw a truck pull up. And then she said she saw like feet, and then they all got in the truck and drove off. And then that was the last, supposedly, pretty much the last time Jack was seen. I remember all of us, you know, we were just walking through woods, and you know what I mean, just going through anywhere where we would think, you know, God forbid we found them in there or something like that. But, you know, at that point, we were thinking, you know, something bad happened to him, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because he would have checked in, you know what I mean? At least, you know, with John or somebody, you know? I remember, like, we went looking through woods, looking here, looking there. And then I remember, like, the next day, or a couple of days after, I don't remember his name, or I kind of remember what he looks like, but I called John up and was like, yo, we found Jack's wife beater. It was at the beach. And so we were like, really? So we went over there, and I saw the wife beater. He showed me, and it was full of blood. The front was covered in blood, and then the back was like dirt, almost like it was dragged, you know what I mean, or something. Yeah, I remember like asking him, like, where did you find this? How did you come across this? You know? And he was like, oh, we were looking, you know, because everybody was looking, you know, so he was like, oh, you know, we were looking for Jack, we went down by the beach, and, you know, we found this. Already, like, you know, shit don't sound right. So we called the cops about that shirt, and I remember they had, where they said they found it was like, so you go south, you go to the Smith Point Beach on William Floyd Parkway. Then there's that 7-Eleven on the right-hand side before you get to the beach. Mm-hmm. There was like dirt roads back there and stuff. And then right before the bridge. So he said they found it over there. So I remember the cops went with dogs and, you know, they had a chopper and all that stuff. And they looked over in that area, but they didn't find nothing. You know, and, you know, just thinking back now, like, for all I know, they could have been lying about where they found it. But they did look in that area. I remember that. The cops did look in that area and they never found anything. So back to square one. And what happened with that wife beater, I don't know. I don't know what happened with that. But I know blood when I see it, and it was covered in blood. Like, completely. At that point, I knew something happened. And it was Jack, because it was big, because he was bigger than me. And it was his size, and where would it come from? And with that amount of blood on it, whoever it was either in the hospital or, you know, worse. So it was something that I never forget that. And it's something that always stuck with me. That bloody shirt thing always stuck in my head. Like, how did you find that? Where did you go to find that? And how could the cops search that area and find nothing? Because if they did find that there would be other stuff there, mm-hmm. other evidence there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's just it never added up. I know there was rumors of some dude he had beef with. I'm sure you know Rob. There was something going on with them, which it was over petty shit. You know what I mean? But apparently, them two bumped their heads. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I was told that they questioned Rob about that. This was, I want to say, like a year before Rob ended up supposedly dying in somewhere or whatever. But